Good afternoon, all you football junkies on footballpros.com. This is Turk Talk. I'm Turk Schonert, and today we're going to do a follow-up on our first session that we had about man coverage, single high safety, or middle field close, as I call it. We had questions on the website, and what I want to do today is get to some of those questions, try and get to all of them if I can, and see if I can answer some of the questions that you asked. Scott DCP, he asked, in the one cop or one dog with split or weak side running back flow, does it ever make sense for the tight end to square out rather than cross inside? And what he's talking about, remember, this is the play, drive against one cop, which means somebody's going to be free inside. That's what cop means. Dog and blitz are 5-man rushes, and there's nobody, no extra guy right there. A cop, an extra patrol guy, however I want to, but that's what I call it, cop. And if we break this guy out, okay, now in man coverage, that's okay, because you're basically beating a strong safety. Now, what Scott was referring to was taking these backs right here, and instead of a strong flow where you got strong flare control, what would happen if you sent them weak? And this is why when you're designing plays, you always have to keep this in mind. If you play faked weak and send them weak, now you have zero underneath flare control for the Y right here if he breaks out or goes to the corner. So if they play zone, now man coverage, like I said, all you're doing is beating your guy. You stem up, get to his outside shoulder, you break out, you beat him, fine. That's okay. But there's no guarantee you're going to get this coverage when you call it. You could get zone. And if you get a zone, there's nobody to hold the underneath zone defenders from just sinking back and getting underneath the Y. You've basically taken Y out of this play if you have weak side flow. So that's why, plus with the weak side concept right here of this play, you've got too many guys in there. You need to space the field. Basketball coaches always talk about spacing the basketball court. Well, football is the same way, especially in zone. And here, where are you going to put everybody? If this guy goes here, the guy that's covering him can sit in between the comeback and the flat and basically take both of them away. Now, where does the halfback go? If he goes anywhere on this side of the field, here comes the Z on a shallow cross. He's sitting down in a zone, remember, so they would get in the way. The only thing he could do is maybe bring him back underneath on a sneak route where he comes back to the other side. But you don't have anything underneath the Y out there. So that's why you would not run this out of a weak side flow with two backs in the backfield. Now, split flow, if you put the backs, the F here and the H here, that's called split. Now you could. One, he's got a responsibility here, the halfback's this side. Now you can put him in the flat. Now that holds the underneath coverage so that you can make that out or corner throw and hit the tight end in the hole. And then now you bring your halfback back underneath in that same area that we had in the strong flow play action that we had. So split backs, you could do it. I backs, where they both go to the strong side, you could do it. And all you got to do is tag Y. Just say drive, Y corner, Y out. And that's how you come up with another play, but it's the same concept to the quarterback. So it's very simple. So yes, you can do that, but you got to make sure you have underneath flare control against all those zones. And you're also going to have other plays in your playbook that the tight end's going to come up and run a corner route, but there'll be some other kind of design by the other people as well. So if you see man coverage and you want to take this guy in an out or a corner, there will be other plays in your playbook that you're going to use to do that. But you can tag somebody with this concept. Just make sure you have the right flare control underneath. Mango, he writes in, are the backs just for decoy, or do you use them for quick fade or flare routes if the quarterback can't find anyone open? Again, good question. Nobody's ever a decoy in my book. You're always live. You always bust your butt to run your route, get there quickly, run a good route, because you never know what's going to happen back here. He could drop back, get pressure, all of a sudden he's on the move, right, left, stepping up, you don't know. His eyes drop down from here to here quickly because of pass rush. So you got to be ready for the ball. So you're never a decoy. And are they flare control? Yeah, they are flare control. But if this guy ever outflanks the defense, say they fall asleep because of this combination right here, and the defense sits here, and now the fullback, he gets outside these guys right here. He's got outside leverage. He's outflanked the defense. Throw that guy the ball. I don't care what your progression is. If the quarterback drops back and he sees that, throw him the ball. Don't pass up an open receiver to try and find somebody more open. That's what I always tell the quarterback. Because one, you don't know if that guy is going to be open. And two, you don't know if those 5 guys up there are going to hold up. There's no guarantee. So you can get back, you see it, get it out of your hand. It's a nice, easy throw. Now you're turning up the sideline and you're getting positive yards by your fullback. So you always want to affect the defense, and that's a way to do it is by always, if you can outflank the defense, get the ball to that guy right now. So that's your decoy there, flare control decoy. There are no decoys in my book. Pruitt, how many wide receivers are actually as attentive to the defensive movement as they should be? We talked about watching linebackers. How can wide receivers or tight ends get a pre-snap read or an on-the-move read when the ball is snapped? If linebackers are moving backwards, that usually means zone most of the time. If they're coming forward or going lateral, then they're running to cover somebody man or they're dogging. So that's an indicator right there for receivers as to get a zone man read. Remember this shallow cross, he's reading it. When he comes up underneath Y's going to pick, he's reading man or zone. As soon as he gets to that far ghost tight inside, he's got to make up his mind. It's man, I'm going to keep going. It's zone, I'm going to sit down right here. And the quarterback has to be able to see that as well and read that. And what we tell the Z is when he comes across, how do they know whether he's going to sit down? How do we know whether he's going to keep going? If he looks back at the quarterback, and the quarterback's dropping right here, and he looks back at him, he just told the quarterback, I'm staying on the move. I'm going to keep going. The phrase we use is, if I'm looking, I'm booking. So if Z comes underneath, and he's looking at the quarterback, his eyes are back there, and he's looking, he just told the quarterback, I'm booking. So I'm going to keep on going on the move. If he's not looking at the quarterback, then the quarterback's anticipating him to sit down in a zone somewhere. So he can anticipate that as soon as he starts that shoulder turn to sit down, that snap, he can get the ball on him right now. And that's the timing and the rhythm of a pass game. When these guys get on the same language, communication language by body language out there. So yes, to answer your question, if you want to be good and you want to be one of the best receivers, yeah, you will be attentive and you'll understand what these guys are doing, how they line up. Sometimes the safety alignment will alert you to something. Could be a blitz. Could say, oh, hey, this guy's way over here, some type of zone. So yeah, they need to, and it helps this guy out as well. Polish. Oh, Polish was talking about the comeback out here. Why I like a comeback. I like this route. And, I had Bill Walsh. I was fortunate enough to have Bill Walsh coach me at Stanford when I played there. And his whole concept of the passing game was to tie in routes with the drop of the quarterback. So I'm very cognizant of this route and his drop. And this combination right here, when you're running this drive concept, it's a 7 quick by the quarterback. And I take 7 quick because it gives this time to unfold, him to read it, sit down, tight end to read it. When you sit at 5, and what I found out with, over the years, is a lot of times that this guy took 5, he's sitting there hopping, waiting for this. And your body language tells you, if I hitch 2 times, I got to get off this first guy right here. And he would get off him way too quick. But with a 7 quick, he's getting deeper. He can see it unfold better, and by the time he hits that last step, these guys have made their decision. It's man, it's zone. Everything's starting to happen. So I go 7 quick, and it times up with this route right here. It's a 7 quick, little quick hitch, get it out. When you go deeper, sometimes that's a 7, maybe a double hitch, and it doesn't time up quite as well as this because you're sitting out here too long. And these things are happening in here, and you're late getting back to there. So it's all timing in the rhythm of the pass game. And he also asked about this guy running a comeback, a double move, pump and go. Absolutely, you can tag this guy, and this is a good protection because it's 7-man protection. It's a better protection than a 6-man protection. If you want to double move this guy and do a comeback and go, beautiful. Because if they jump at one time, now what you got to do, and you tell your receiver, when the quarterback looks out and he wants you to do that, or he can give you a call, I always have a code word or something that he can holler out there that tells him to do that. And he'll do it. He'll shorten his route a little bit. He'll go about maybe 13 to 14 and then run his comeback and go. And again, it's all about timing, rhythm. You don't want to hold the ball forever. These guys here, they do a great job trying to protect, and you want to help them out as much as possible. Matter of fact, Football Fan, he got on and posted about, we didn't mention the linemen the last time, but believe me, they're very important. If I'm building an offense, I'm going to get that guy first, and then I'm going to build my offensive line second. That's how important I think the offensive line is. But we'll get to those. Maybe Dave Lapham can get on the board sometime and go through some offensive line play and protection scheme and run blocking schemes and those types of things. But so hopefully I answered your questions. Keep them coming, man. I love it. I love the questions. And we'll just keep going forward with this. And whatever you guys want to, where you want to go, we'll take it there. So until then, we'll see you next time on Turk Talk.